Hello and welcome to the Foresight Scrolls Channel, where we look at stocks, cryptos, and commodities using the Foresight Suite indicators for Tradingview. If you're interested in the Foresight Suite, you can check that out at foresightscrolls.com. You can also hop on our Discord at any time and ask questions there. And you can certainly watch the streams nightly, normally Monday through Thursday around 7 o'clock, to see how the Foresight Scrolls make predictions about market moves with cryptocurrencies, the indices like the S&P 500, which we're starting out here. We normally do that first each night. That or the NASDAQ 100, one of the two. And you can see here, as we've talked about for over a month now, the S&P back since the Liberation Day sell-offs, the tariffs, aka the tariffs, we've been in this up channel, which is really an abnormal extended pattern here to go up just sort of at this 45-degree angle like this forever. But we can see here that we looked like we were going to break down, came back up, made a bull trap, hit. We got a premonition. This is our Foresight indicator here. We got a premonition at the very top of the market. We almost got this at the very top of the market. So you can see the market's right here at 689. This is the SPY. The ETF tracks S&P 500, and we got the call just like about 50 cents below that. And as you can see, once we got the premonition, a day later we got the short spell, which was our confirmation, and you could have had this entire down move here. We got a premonition, a spell, we got a bounce. So this is played perfectly by the Foresight Suite. Also coincidentally, just as a matter of technical analysis, when we get the bounce, you can see that it came right up into the underside of this channel, which is some technical analysis. So you get the breakdown from the channel, and then it turns into resistance, which is normally what you expect to see. And then it's rolling over again, so we're getting this more to the downside. I'm not sure if we'll get saved in this area. There's not a ton of support there, especially because we've broken out of this channel. And I'm assuming the next stop down is somewhere, just by a matter of technical analysis. Sorry, I'm looking for my, right, there we go. Somewhere down in this area, I'm assuming. If we take a look at another one of our indicators, the flow of time, it is our trend indicator, and you can see that it has kept this thing up the entire time. Specifically speaking, this blue line is what we call the epoch. That's our line in the sand between a bull market and a bear market. And you've seen that it's tagged it right here, right here. It kept it up right here. We were pinched in between this and the channel for a while, and it had this one last pop to the upside. You can see it tried to bounce one more time, and now we're below it, and we've confirmed below it. Let's check out the see if we're getting a that's going to print soon. All right, so let's jump over to the NASDAQ 100. And as you can see here, it's a similar situation. It's not drawn in here, but you can see, I could try to draw this in actually really quickly. So you can see this in real time. It would go something, actually, I don't know that this is, yeah, well, it's close. It's something like that. In this up channel that it's been in, you can see it's done the same thing. It's broken out here. If we look at this absent of the channel and just look at the flow of time, you can see that the very similar thing has happened here. We've bounced off of our trend indicator here. It's gotten support off of it the entire time. By the way, you can play this breakout here, and you can also play every time it comes into the line as a long. So you see this gets excellent longs here off this line in an uptrend, and pretty strong rejections in a downtrend as well. Here's an example of over here where we broke down and it catches support finally. I'm guessing a technical. It bounces here. We get a premonition. We get a long spell. We bounce right up into it and a clear rejection out of it. So that's how these indicators can work together. They can work independently for trading, and they can work together too. They show confluence with each other. They also show entries and exits with each other. For a perfect example, this long here, we take our long, and then we could take profits when it runs into the wave here, because we know that's going to be some form of a resistance. All right, so let's move on to Bitcoin. Let's move on to Bitcoin here. Sorry, let me check. Let's make this thing darker. Okay. And with Bitcoin here, we're looking at the daily chart, and you can see that we have now broken below this major red uptrend. This is actually the top of the previous, this goes back a ways. Goodness gracious. Yeah, all the way back here to March of 2021. These were the double tops back in that bear market. And you can see this year, we did get above it, but now we've come back down to test it, and we've broken below it. So my guess is that maybe we get a retest of it, and then a push down into the 74,000 range. I'm sure it will be a choppy move down, I'm guessing, but nonetheless, that's what I expect to see. You see here with our indicator, we got a premonition and a short spell at the top, called the very top of the Bitcoin market. This thing comes down, we get a premonition, we get a spell, and just the tiniest little pop here, and then a rejection off of this technical analysis, this line we've got drawn here that was previous support. All right, so let's take a look at Solana. I'm a fan of trading Solana. I just like the way that it moves, so we look at it often. I like to keep up with it. That's one reason, but it's also a great chart to watch. Right now, we're just seeing this bleed out that the cryptos have been having ever since the top of Bitcoin. Most recently for us, this is on the 4 hour. You can see we got a short spell here. We got extra confluence with our super signal and our omens. And again, it was a real clinical top. This is just an incredible move if you're holding a trailing profit on this thing, just capturing all of this price all the way down. Getting a premonition here is probably a good sign that we'll get some sort of a bounce. We certainly could continue to bleed through it, given the fact that if we look down here at our mystic spell, this thing doesn't have to go to top to bottom, but that's where we want to trade it. Where you can see here, you got a nice sell-off here, and you certainly could have traded this rollover, but we don't do that because we just want the extra security of knowing that we're getting the spells. So let's move on to, this is one that we looked at last week. And by the way, if you're ever here during a live stream and you want me to take a look at anything particular, you can drop that in the chat, or if you just want to say hello, that's cool too. We can talk about anything in the markets if I happen to know about it. And if not, maybe I could be educated in some way. So you can see here this Lowe's Corporation, we got a premonition back here, and you do see this Chronos wave stay flat for a while sometimes. And when you do, it's just like a spring winding up. There's pressure building to the downside. And so finally, we got our spell right over in here. And if you're an options trader, that's a good place for puts, in my view, not financial advice. And now you can see it's pushing just today, it's peaking to the downside. Now, this is a long uptrend and sideways consolidation. Generally, that's a bull flag in technical analysis. My guess is we may see this go sideways and then make a pop up into this range where this red line I just have marked out, this using the 4 hour, there's some Fibonacci extensions. That's what you see, this little rainbow pattern here. And we're specifically looking at this 1.65, 1.618 area over here has a top. And then also we're in This red line is a top of a trend line as well. So there's double confluence with technical analysis here, as well as we'll be watching to see if it does pop up. I'm guessing we get another premonition sign and one more rollover up here to the top, but maybe not. Maybe we get our pullback here, and then a move up. We'll see how that goes. Currently, this is looking good as a short if you have a put on it from up here, and we'll just see how that plays out in the days to come. Next, H bar. I just wanted to point out one of the ways that you can use the indicators in a shorter time frame is, you can see here I'm on a 21-minute time frame, and the reason why I did that is because on the 4-hour, H bar was really bleeding off, and you can see it's struggling to roll over. There's a lot of fighting going on in here between the bulls and the bears. But if you go out to the daily, look at this previous wick to the downside, all the way down here to 10 cents. Currently we're at 14. This 12 cents, I think I have marked out from it's just touching some of these other wicks over here. There may have been something specific. Yeah, I think I was just grabbing a couple more wicks over here. I may want to move that up to where we get these extra wicks, and to see this as maybe some sort of a downside. But the reason why I brought this up is, if you see this, what this looks like on the daily, go to the 4-hour, it's just bleeding off. That tells me that, it's still really weak. So I go down to the 21-minute, and if I wanted to trade this right now, I could see that we have a long spell. We've popped up into our wave of eons, which is our trend line. We're getting rejected off this blue line right here. And so this is sort of the situation where we're watching to see now if it continues to get rejected for another candle or two and possibly get a short spell here. That potentially signals a great short, which we would expect to resolve itself, at least in the short term, down to about here, about 6% down, which would be a really nice short. So if you happen to watch this in the next few minutes, you may want to check out H bar there for a cool short overnight or over the next day or so. Lastly, let's take a look at gold. It's been a few weeks since we looked at gold, but really wanted to look at it again to see how Foresight has handled it. I think it's handled it really well, actually. If we go back here, let's go back before the peak. What we see here is a premonition, a short spell. We get a pullback. I'm sure we get the 2% we're looking for there. And then this just blow off top here, where it just grinds up day after day after day, almost just parabolic here. And you can see we got a premonition and just grind right through that. We got a short spell here, and it pushes up, and this is how we know it's a blow off top. It just goes straight up right after that. You get another premonition, and at this point, you're getting this premonition and the short spell with multiple confluence down here with our omens and our super signals, and it just there's no more room to go up at that point. It has too much pressure on it. You see it collapse down from its peak right away, 4.5%. It double tops, so you get a perfect double top here, a perfect double top, the rejection of it, and then you see it collapse off of that rejection. So if you were convinced that this was the top at this point, which you could have made a good case for it the way this thing had run up. I don't have it drawn in here, but it was also up against I think it was up against a really long-term trend line up there too, or something, if I'm not mistaken. So it gets rejected. You can see, because it's a double top and had this long arm up, you got almost all of it back. And so then it got its bounce, and then further to the downside, and then look what we get here. We get a premonition, we get a long spell, and it takes it a while, chop sideways, but then it has the run up again. And now what we've seen here as a matter of technical analysis is if we go out to the daily, what we see is this huge pullback, and then this is the retest of the breakdown. One cool thing about high candlestick candles is you can see here it's nice with the averages, because you can see where that top candle averaged out, and that's where it touched it exactly. And so now it's rolling over again, and this is an old trend line I have here. I'm guessing, I don't know that it goes straight down here, but I'm guessing we get down into this region from here. So that's it for tonight. If you happen to be watching this in the future, it's Discord. Our Discord's open, ForesightScrolls.com. That's ForesightScrolls.com, where you can check out our indicators there, see how to get access to those. And anyone's welcome in the Discord as well if you want to jump in there and ask questions. Thanks so much. See you next time.